Hello and welcome, it's Ruth here at Artful Stampin', and today I'm going to be playing with Extraordinary Flora. It's a new stamp set to me and it also comes with some dies, and so I've been thinking about how can I perhaps colour this in a really quick way. So I'm going to be doing some embossing and some colouring and see what happens. So I'm currently away on holiday but thought I would get ahead and film something for you guys. I'm going to be using basic beige cardstock, and I've got a big piece of A4 cardstock here. I am using my Stamparatus because, would you believe, I went to clean my big block earlier today and I've put it somewhere really safe and I can't find it. So anyway, it's probably a good thing actually, because it also means that I can kind of put a really good even pressure. So unfortunately the Stamparatus is discontinued now, but you can get hold of other stamping platforms if you so wish to use one. So I'm using VersaMark ink, and yes, that's my label telling me that this is the one to use if I'm using white and clear embossing powder. So I'm stamping up, or inking up my stamp rather, and I'm just going to grab my magnet just to pop it there to make sure my cardstock stays in place, and then I'm going to stamp it down. Now the idea is here that I'm going to get 4 lots of this image on here, so I'm going to go ahead and get these 4 images stamped up and then I'll come back. So I went ahead and poured the embossing powder on my images, and I made a boo-boo earlier. I dropped the stamp twice onto the piece of cardstock, so this is going to be ruined. I cannot use that piece, but nevertheless I do have these three pieces that will be fine. So I'm going to go and heat this all up and then start colouring. So I've heat embossed all my images, and this is how it's turned out. It's really nice and crisp, and what I'm going to do now is do some kind of watercolouring, and to do that I've got a no, I haven't, that's a Misty Moonlight reinker. Oh well, I'm going to go with it, and if I need it to be darker I'll grab the Night of Navy. So that's Misty Moonlight, and then I'm going to use some Mossy Meadow. Oh, if I can get it open. It is good to get these screwed on pretty tight, because you do not want reinker let loose in your craft room. I've got a nice big jar of water here ready to use my aqua brush with it. Now I could fill my aqua brush if I wanted to, but I'm just going to go ahead and use it as a brush. And then I'm wondering whether it would be helpful just to spray this whole piece with water to start off with, just to get the fibres kind of slightly moistened. So this isn't watercolour paper, so I'm not expecting it to behave like traditional watercolour paper, but I thought I'd go ahead and just give that a little mist so that it's got a bit of moisture happening there. So to start off with, I am going to just dab my brush in here, and I want a nice kind of pale blue to start off with, because I've never done this before. This is the first time I'm playing with this stamp set. So I'm just going to go and have a little play around and see what happens. Okay, and I don't mind actually colouring out slightly outside the lines, because I want it to have a kind of watercolour look. So I'm just going to put some colour down on this rose here. Ooh, that's quite fun. All right. So because there was already a bit of water on the surface of the embossed images, it's taken the colour outside. So I'm actually just going to mop up some of that just to see what happens. Okay, that's interesting. Let's see if I do that again. Just to add a bit of colour there. Okay. A bit more in here. because it's already moistened some of these, it's just the colour is just spreading really beautifully. So I'm going to bring you down a little bit closer so you can see what's happening. So here on my block I've got quite a bit of water that I'm adding some of that ink colour to. This is really fun. That's a bit darker, that one. Okay. Go in with a little bit darker in the centre there. And I'm just going to play with putting a lighter wash around the edge. See what happens there. And then blot it. Oh no, I was going to get some green. That's what I was going to do next. Play with a bit of this mossy meadow. Just add some. And I don't know if you can see, I'm kind of watering down some of the colour. I'm going to add some here. Get a bit darker. And you know what, I'm just going to do that. And then add some darker. I wouldn't say that I'm particularly experienced as a watercolorist, but I do like having fun when I get the chance to have a go. And I think just the basic understanding that, you know, if you've already moistened the card and got some water down, it will help the colour to spread. That's what is worth remembering. And then not being too precious about it and trying to be precise. That is another thing. And the more you play, the more you'll get a feel of what is possible. So I quite like the idea of, yeah, having the green around the edge there. Oh, I might just do some around here. Because when I use the die to cut out all these images, sometimes I don't actually like having an outline, an obvious outline. So being able to just go in and colour that in now is really helpful. Okay, like that. So I think the plan is, what I'm going to do with these images is to make a birthday card for my father. So by the time you watch this, I think he should have got it, because I'm going on away and I'll be spending time with my family. So we're planning to have a little bit of a birthday celebration at some point, so where he'll get some of his gifts. Okay, I'm going to mop that up. Oh no, that was a bit too dark. Oh, that one's a bit dark as well, but okay, I can mop that up. Let's get a bit more blue on the go. Oh, I'm being super lazy doing it this way. looking nice though. It's very subtle. I like it. Alright, I'm going to make a start on another piece. This time, rather than spritzing, I think what I'm going to do is do a very pale light green wash across the cardstock around some of those areas, and just work immediately then on some of these. Ooh, that's fun. And just let the colour get pulled through to the different areas. And then a bit of darker green for some of these others. There you go. It's amazing how just with the two colours, the Mossy Meadow and the Misty Moonlight, it's creating such variety of shades. Oh, and I'm slightly blending the green and the blue here now, so that's interesting as well. Add a little bit of blue there. So if you don't like what you've done and it's still wet, you have got time just to pick up some of that colour. So hello to everybody who's watching this. Thank you for joining me. Do drop a comment in the description. Not description, in the comment section. Let me know what you think of this technique and whether you're going to have a go doing it. Now, I do know that there's a really very talented Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the UK called Emma Goddard. She's known as the Coastal Crafter, and she loves doing watercolour, and I think has just recently done a whole series of videos, like one a day. I think she kind of challenged herself to do like a day, you know, each day do a bit of watercolouring. So if you really like watercolouring, do go and head over there. And I love her kind of just go for it approach, and you know, not worrying too much whether it looks messy or whatever. She gets some great results. Okay, I'm really happy with this. I love it. Okay, let's do a little bit more. So if you want to skip ahead to me making the card, feel free to do that. But I'm going to just carry on, and I'm going to film this whole process because I know some of you really do enjoy this type of thing. So, I'm being really rough with my paintbrush here. Okay, get some more blue. Put that there. Some there, and some here. My brush is splitting a little bit. Sometimes I have to just give it a little coaxing just to get back into the right position. Okay, I may need to get some more of the Mossy Meadow reinker on my block because I've got far too much water on here now. It's not as saturated as it was. It only takes a few drops, you know, you're not using loads. This is a great way to use your reinkers as well because the colour is so saturated. It only takes a little bit of it to go quite a long way. quite dark. Okay. Oh, now I'm getting lazy. Okay, last stretch. Let's get some colour water onto here. Blue there. Nope. So obviously the more water that you've got on the surface of the cardstock, the further it's going to spread. The embossed areas are somewhat keeping the ink together. It does to a certain degree. But there's this image here, because it's open, it just goes for it and it just spreads. Okay. So are there any areas that I want to touch up? Make these a little bit darker. Right, so I'm going to let that dry, and as you can see, I've got quite a bit of ink left on here. So I'm going to use this to make a fun, kind of like smooshy background. And I'm going to grab some very vanilla cardstock. If it will come to me. Yeah. And also, see if I can find my silicone mat. I can't find it. Alright, I have found it. It's got a little bit of glue on it, so let's find the cleanest side. Get as much of this glue off. Give it a little bit of a clean. So just try and make sure whatever you're using is waterproof. So the Stampin' Up! Silicone mat is just great for this. But if you've got other baking sheets or plastic bags, anything really. Alright, so I'm just going to put the ink, I nearly said glue then, onto the mat and just spray some of that off. So make the most of it. Give this a little bit more of a spray. Oh, I'm running out. Okay, I'm just going to put water with my paintbrush. Put a bit all over. And I kind of want it lighter on the outside, so I'm going to put lots of water towards the edge of the mat. There we go. Oh, come on. Wasn't meant to go over there. Let's do that. Right, I might have to move quite fast. So I'm just going to pop that over the top. Oh, lovely. Oh, I like that. Okay, so I think I'd like a few little splatters on there. I was going to get some more reinker out, but I'm going to just grab a pen And I'm going to grab my mossy meadow pen, and while this is still damp, I'm actually going to do a little bit of flicking of ink, because I know that the colour is going to move around a little bit more. So I'm just going to flick that, and then I think a little bit of Night of Navy as well, just to add to it. Okay, and as I said, because it's still wet, the colour is still sorry, the ink is kind of responding to the water, and it is moving around a bit. So I'm really happy with that, and that's going to be a really nice basis on which to stick all my little flowers and so forth. So I'm just going to go and dry everything out, and then we're going to cut them all up. Okay, so I'm about to cut out my final piece of sheet of the flowers, because I've already done some. So the die matches beautifully with the stamped image, so you just got to lay it over the top and make sure you just double check top and bottom that it's in the correct position. And I kind of like use the principle of, you know, when you cross the road, you like look left, look right, and look left again, or look right, left, right. It's the same with like when you're trying to connect the dies. You kind of look at the top, see that that's okay, check then at the bottom, you know, bottom right, is that okay? Then go back and check the top, because if you've moved the bottom section, you've probably moved the top as well. So just double check and make sure that you can see the outline of the image through the die, and make sure that there are no obvious kind of like big gaps. Now I'm using a couple of pieces of washi tape just to make sure that everything stays in place when I put it down and then put it through my cut and emboss machine. So just one roller through. The Stampin' Up cut and emboss machine is really tight, so you don't need to go through multiple times. And look how easily all those images just pop through. And there you have a whole pile of gorgeous florals to be able to play with. So I have my lovely blotchy splattery watercolour effect panel here, and I'm going to cut this down to 13.5 centimetres by 13.5, and then I'm going to be sticking my lovely floral arrangement on here. So as I said, wanting to make a birthday card for my dad, who's turning 80, and that's why I've kind of gone with the blue and green and beigey kind of colour scheme, which I know he'll like. And also he does like plants. He mainly likes growing vegetables, but you know, he'll be fine with the odd flower. So my plan is to actually create the number 80 on here. So I may have to do some trimming with some of these pieces just to see if it'll work. So I'm going to just have a little play and see what we can come up with. Might have to move this over a little bit to fit this all on. Oh yeah, that could go down there, and that can go up that way. Don't mind it being a little bit symmetrical, but not totally. Quite nice shape coming there. I'm wondering whether just to lay out in pencil where I'm heading with this, so that I can get a rough idea. So put a mark there and there for the middle and the sides of the 8, and then we're aiming to cover there, and then about there and there. There we go. So that's the sort of what I'm aiming for. Right, I'm wondering whether it would just be easier for me just to get my dimensionals out and start using those. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the press and seal that various friends have managed to obtain for me and get to me. So I'll get the press and seal out in a second, and then you can see how that works. So unfortunately, press and seal is not widely available in the UK, as it's a product available in the USA and Canada. But I'm sure some of you would love to see it put to use. And let's have that go there. Now my cardstock is a little bit wobbly because I had to dry it with my heat tool, so oops. Okay, what else have we got here? You see that? I feel it's a little bit too... doesn't create the right shape, that one. Could just about get away with that one. Oh, this is like a bit of a puzzle. Getting these all to go together. Fun puzzle though. Oh, that can go around like that. So I need another one like that. All right, I think we're getting there. So I'm just going to scoot these over a little bit more. Now I'm aware that I have some of those little flowers, so I can always stick these flowers on afterwards. But now I've got the kind of the main shape happening. Do I want to put something else in there? Oh, if I move that down a little bit, I can pop a leaf under there. Maybe pop that there. All right. Oh, no, don't move. So many moving parts. Okay. Bring that over a little bit more. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. You can definitely see that it's meant to say 80. So I'm going to go and grab some press and seal. So for those of you who don't know what press and seal is, it's just a very fun product that you can use to hold things in position. Oh no, don't move. So just going to pick that all up. Pull that back. So while it's on there, I can move some of these images to exactly where I want them. So I'm going to move that one slightly. Let's change the angle of that. And I think of this one too. So I've got a bit more of a correct shape happening. Okay, that can be moved over slightly. Now, obviously, if you don't have press and seal, you don't have to have it. You don't need it to make this technique work. But I'm hoping that it's just going to make my life a bit easier. So now I'm going to get my dimensionals and my fairly small ones and start placing them onto the back of my images, and then I'll come back and place it on. Right, so I've got all my dimensionals on there now and remove the backing, and so I'm just going to flip this over and place it back onto my card where I've made the marks. Hold on, make sure I get this the right way up. Okay, there you go. And just hover that over the top. Oh no, that's not right. Whew, glad I spotted that. Okay, there we go, that's better. Okay, hover that over the top, then press down. And then peel that back. So we're not done yet because, as I said, I've got all these little flowers to go in yet. And also there are some nice little leaf bits that I think could also be tucked in here and there, just to fill out some of these areas. So like there, for example. So I'm just going to pop a dimensional on there, tuck that in. And then I've got some spaces here that might cope with something. I don't want to try to what's the word I want? I want to keep the integrity of the shape of the numbers. So I'm just going to be careful so that it doesn't look like it's getting bent out of shape. So, oh, that's okay actually. That kind of, because I've already got that shape there. If I move that, that kind of looks all right. Okay, let's put that on. And yes, I'm adding bulk upwards, but it's all good. So let's take another one. I'm wondering if I could trim some of this off. And a pair of scissors. Right, what if I just do a little bit of a trim down? Just take that little leaf off the edge there. Yeah, that works. So this is like paper flower arranging. It's really fun. Because you have the guidance of having to fit it to a number, it's really fun. It's like a puzzle, trying to get it all in the right place. Tuck that into there. Get my little flowers at the ready. I've got loads of these little flowers, and I'm thinking also that I might just shape them a little bit before I stick them on. So you can do that with your fingers, you can do it with the back of a pencil, you can do it with a fancy stylus, whatever you want. But, you know, back of a pencil with an eraser on it works perfectly well. So I'll do a few of those. So if you're new to my channel, if you've just found me, welcome. I love doing floral stamped arrangements normally, but this is a really easy product to use if you're wanting to do die cutting, because it cuts it out all in one go, which I love, love, love. I'll just stick that in there. Right, let's get some of these flowers on now. And this is so worth it when you're making a special card for a special birthday. Worth taking the time over. Oop. Further in. I get carried away sometimes and think, oh, I'd like that flower there, but then I'm having to remember that I want the zero shape to remain intact. Now I'm thinking, do I want to put some embellishments on this? Like some tiny little pearls or something? Or do I just leave it as it is? I wanted to put a flower on there. Well, from those three sheets that I use, I've still got quite a bit left over here, and I don't feel that I necessarily need to put much more else on there apart from some embellishments. I'm wondering if these tiny little pearls would be perfect. I believe these may be retired now. There's Stampin' Up have reconfigured the way that they do their pearls, but may as well use them up. So I'm just popping them in those flowers that don't look like roses, basically. I'm not going to leave those roses because I don't think they'd have this kind of centre, so just popping them into all the others. Now, I remember when my dad turned 75, I stamped a 7.5, but it was really flat. It was just, yeah, literally just all stamping. So this is a step up from that. Just giving some of these a little bit of a shape. All right, so I already pre-cut a piece of Misty Moonlight, ready to stick that onto to give it a nice bit of a border. All right, so let's get this stuck down. Now, as I said, this card is a little bit wrinkly from when I created that smooshy background earlier, so I'm going to make sure that I cover it well with the wet glue. And the card would probably benefit from being put under a book or something overnight, just to try and flatten it out. But the actual sticking it onto a flat piece of card that hasn't had the wet treatment probably will be fine. So give that a really good push. And then I cut a very vanilla card base onto which I'm going to stick the whole lot. So So thank you very much for watching this card making process. And as I said, if you've never been here before, welcome. And if you like what you see, do press the subscribe button and go and check out some of my other videos. There you go. Right, so happy birthday, Daddy. This one's for you. So let me just tell you again the name of that product. So it was the Extraordinary Flora stamp set with the Extraordinary Flora die. This one here. And it's great for if you're wanting to stamp and cut out a few all in one go. Now the stamp set does have a happy birthday. No, it doesn't. It has sentiments, sorry. It says, for the extraordinary couple, congratulations and with love. And I know that my dad does not like small sentiments. He finds it really annoying when he can't read something properly. So I'm not going to be putting a sentiment on this, large or small, but I'll just be writing a message on the inside for him. So there you have it. Thank you very much for joining me. Take care for now. Bye bye.